then.
Okay. So, and with that, we can come up with today's agenda. I think the first one is presentation of deliverable 2 by Kill the Team, read by Sarah. Then now from there, after the presentation, now we'll discuss the next step. That is now to come up with the questionnaire, populate the stakeholder table, maybe to know whom are we supposed to conduct for this study, and give out the contact details for relevant organization. So with this, I welcome Kill the Team, led by Sarah, to take us through their presentation for the deliverable 2.
Okay, good morning, team members.
Good morning.
Yes, so let me share the screen. Hello, are you able to see the screen? Hello?
Yes, I can
Yes,
see
yes,
it.
we can see
We
it.
are able. Yeah.
Okay, so today's presentation, I presume, is going to be shorter because most of the things we discussed in the other meeting, just as we had said, the major part, the major activity
Sarah,
in this.
why
Hello?
don't you do what Aditi Krista advised you? There was that F something button.
F5. Is it okay now?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we have the proposed activities that we had talked about. We are going to identify the stakeholders, of which we've done some, then to come up with the objective that will guide us in the next section. From there, we'll go to the field to collect data, and probably data analysis, and the final case will be to come up with a good report. And if possible, we should also be able to publish whatever will come up within the field. So for the stakeholders, we are just going to know like who are the people we are going to involve and why we should involve them. Of course, we had said why we should involve them, why it's important to have them, and how is now the actual work. So the stakeholders are basically the people or the group which have the interest in the project or will be affected by actually the policy that we are going to formulate this time around. We came up with a group of people using various analysis. We came up with this group, and from the government part, we have like nine people. You can see the list. We have the Ministry of Energy, we have IPRA, KEBS, KenGen, KPLC, RIREC, and NUPEA, NITA, and KRA. Each and every group has got their role that they are likely to play in this part. Then we have the county. We felt like county governments, 13 should be there. We have Narok, Turkana, and the rest. So as you can see, those number of people that we've identified. So maybe after the meeting, we should be able to at least finalize like which number should we work with. So we just gave a total of what we came up with, and we expect this team to at least we agree on the actual number that we are going to visit or to work with. So the financial institutions, we have 15 of them that we were able to identify. We have the Power for All, World Bank, GIZ, SNAV, FFD, Energy for Impact, European Investment Bank, Equity Bank, HIVOS, Sunfunder, Sunref, Solar Africa Platform, and many others. Then we have the mini grid operators. Under this, we have 12 of different groups. We have the group of installers. We have the people who are using solar for productive use. So we've just put them in this category. And we have 12 of them that we've identified. So we have the Power Hive Limited, SolarGen Technologies, Sun Culture Limited, Talex Solar Power Limited, which is in Naivasha. We have Davis and Shatleaf, which has been doing a lot of work in solar. We have the Ofgen, this is engineering and procurement contractors. I think they're dealing with solar also. The Solar Sanctuary, Premier Solar, Night Energy Limited, Sustainable Power, PowerGen Renewable Energy. Then under a category of women groups, so far we only have one group, Women in Sustainable Energy. This group, we are part of it together with Nani, Catherine. We've been doing a lot of installation as a group, and we felt that they should also be involved so that you are able to know what they've done and what they are planning to do. Then we have the household groups. So under this, we thought of like tackling the COSAP projects. There are very many projects. There are very many solar systems that have been installed under COSAP projects. So we wanted to choose like 5 of them. We go and check on like what they've done, their performance, and probably the challenges that they're experiencing. So these are the group of stakeholders that we've identified. So the reason as to why we are involving these people, we had said, for working relationship, to bring confidence to all of them that we shall be working with, improve communication channels, so that for us to be able to get more information, we really have to put them and communicate so well to them. At least early identification of potential issues, conflicts and benefits, generation of new ideas. We need to gather very many ideas on how we can move forward. Formation of new formal partnerships was said last time, and local support and goodwill fostered for a new idea or the initiative that we are carrying out. So how are we going to do this? I think Dr. Tuma has been trying so well even to communicate with us. We are already the internal stakeholders, and I think we've been communicating so well, working so well, strategizing so well, and coming up with a proper plan. So we are in the process of planning, and we hope we need to come up with a good plan with a good objective. So methods that we've been using, and probably we are going to continue to use, are these methods: the formal reports, pre-recorded. We have online discussions. At least we can even be forming maybe meetings through online to discuss issues. Then we have live speeches, face-to-face. Of course, we are going to go to the field to meet the people to be interviewed, telephone conversations where necessary. We have memos. I don't know. I think we in some areas we'll have to use that. So this is a part that we started last time, and it's very crucial for the next step. We need to come up with a SMART objective, of which we've tried to draft. At least I've been working with Strathmore. Strathmore, thank you. You helped me a lot to come up with this. So under objectives, we thought of like coming up with 3 main objectives. And with the 3 main objectives, this is it will help us even on how to present our final report. So our final report will be based on the 3 main objectives. So the first main objective that we came up with is to access the solar PV technology options in Kenya. That is, we need to know the technology that is in the country that maybe are very efficient and is working well with us. So specific objectives, these are to identify the types of solar PV and their applications in the country, and to establish innovations in solar PV for businesses, to identify the different productive uses of solar PV for businesses and households. We need to establish the ownership status of the small micro enterprises, We need to know whether they are leased, rented, or they are personal. Of course, we need to know like what is the type of roof space. Okay, like the panels are normally on the roof. Which kind of roofs do we have? Do we have suitable roofs for our systems? Or could there be a challenge so that we come up with a policy guiding on that area? So to understand the procedures and necessary steps for installing solar PV, this area is a bit technical. So we need to go through that and understand it. So out of the objectives, we should be able to come up with the questions. So as you can see, we came up with a few questions just to help us understand on how we are going to do the work. So like in this case, we are some of the questions we are going to ask are like, what are the types of solar PV in the country? You go to a stakeholder, you need to know like what they have. What are the kind of innovations in solar PV in the country? What are the productive uses of solar PV for businesses and households? So we need to know areas where there are productive uses of solar. What are the procedures for installing solar PV for businesses? Then the second objective is to determine the entire structure of Kenyan solar PV market. So under this, we are going to identify the key drivers and opportunities in solar PV use. We are going to identify the types of business models for domestic solar energy development. We are going to identify and probably evaluate appropriate financial instruments that can be considered to balance the lender's concerns with SMEs needs in country when financing. We are going to assess the perspective of developers on existing business models and their impacts across the different customer segments. We are going to analyze the skills requirement in the solar industry to identify institutions carrying out research and innovations on solar technology, and to analyze the economics of solar PV. This is where we are going to know what is the cost of per module and other costs that are aligned to that. So in this area, these are the kind of questions that we are going to ask, like what are the key actors in the solar PV? Maybe if we get an official government official, we need to know what they know about the actors in this industry. So what are the existing solar PV business models in the country? What are the appropriate financial instruments appropriate for the SMEs? What support mechanism already exists for SMEs to improve their access to financing for solar PV installation? So we need to know the banks which are working with the solar PV industry, if there are any. Which kind of funds are available for research and innovation in solar systems? So we are going to identify whether maybe the government also has maybe some policies that are guaranteeing maybe research institutions to have to do research on solar PV. What are the knowledge gaps in this sector along the value chain, of course? What are the levels of competence in solar PV? Like if you go to an industry, maybe they've just employed people who are not having the background information in solar PV. So we need to know before we come up with our document. So the third, which is the last objective in our case, we decided to group all this section under the policy, legal institutional frameworks in the country. So the objective in this area that we are going to ask is basically to evaluate the role of government intervention and regulation in adoption of solar energy for productive uses. We are going to understand the difficulties experienced in accessing national grid in case of excess electricity. This is now where we are going to check we have those fits. What is their net metering policy? What do they have? What are the gaps on that? So to clarify the roles and functions of various institutions involved in the solar energy sector, we are going to analyze market barriers. So market barriers would be categorized in three main categories. We have the technical barriers, market barriers, market and financial barriers, policies and regulatory barriers. So we are going to check what they have there. Then we are going to evaluate how the national and county governments have been working together to integrate the national and county policy framework on solar, which means we are going to go to the county, we are going to check what those governments are working on in this industry, if they have their own policies or they are just using the main policy that has been formulated by the main government. So the questions we have are like, what are the current policies and regulatory government the solar PV industry in the country? What are the key barriers to scaling up solar in the SME sector in the country? What are the potential mitigants to addressing the identified barriers? And what are the roles of the private sectors and women in the solar industry? So these are some of the few questions that we are going to have, but basically it will just be a guideline for our question development of our questionnaire. So as we had said last time, our plan is to take up this thing in 3 sections, 3 phases. We have like the planning, like what we are doing right now. We are still in the process of planning. And under planning, as we had said, we plan to take 3 weeks for planning. And in the planning, this is where we should also have a sensitization workshop for the stakeholders. We need to generate more ideas from them. It will guide us on what is on the market. Then there's the data collection, the actual visits, or maybe sending questionnaires to some of them if you won't be able to reach those places. So far we are still continuing with the literature review to gather more information and to know how to tackle this area. So questionnaire development, as you can see, it will be derived from the objectives if we do it well as a team. Then we intend to we'll analyze and do the report. Whatever we've talked about in the 3 phases, we decided to put it in a table so that at least it will guide us. So in this section, as we had said, we have the mapping and identifying the stakeholders. So far we've identified like 54 stakeholders, the ones that we mentioned, of which 9 are government agencies, 13 are county governments, then financial institutions are 14, mini grid operators are 12, women in solar is 1, households we have 5. So 54 is already identified. So under team members, maybe Strathmore had an interest. They told me we should include them. If there's another team that will be interested in joining us, maybe after this meeting we should be able to know. And the entire process up to writing reports, maybe after this, I don't know whether we should also do some publication of the work, the survey that we will come up with. Should take like 12 weeks. So my conclusion would be, for us to achieve the objective and meet the time period, we need to, this one will depend on facilitation process. If we are facilitated first, we shall be able to go to the field, collect data and do the necessary. Then another factor that we need to check is the stakeholders' response. If they respond maybe to the feedback and maybe after writing a letter to them so fast, we hope to do the work so fast. Then the final is like our commitment to finish the work within the time frame. That is, it depends on our efficiency. Thank you so much. That's what I have for today. Back to the chairman.
Okay, thank you, Sarah, for the wonderful presentations, and which is straightforward. So from there, I welcome any team member who need clarification of any comment from the presentations.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning too.
Okay, I just have one question for Sarah. It's on the identification of the stakeholders that she did mention. For example, she mentioned some counties and some agencies and government like that. So I was just wondering whether it would be easier for her to show us how she think it would be good, especially for future use of the document. But a new member of the team or reading that presentation, for good understanding, it would just be good if the stakeholders were stated with a reason or their contribution besides them. So let's say
you're not clear on my side.
Okay. Am I clear now? Can you hear me, Sarah?
Yes, we can hear you, but sometimes you are breaking.
Okay. Sorry for that. So it would be very good if the stakeholders could be indicated either the role that they are playing or the contribution that they'll be having, so that somebody can clearly understand that Makweni is selected because of ABCD, because of the same. Just my small contribution. Just a short of the rationale for selection of the stakeholders and maybe their thank you.
Okay, like when we were selecting the county governments, can I answer how do you do it? Hello, Chair.
Hello, Sarah. Go ahead.
Okay. When we are selecting the counties, we were checking on the factors like areas with already some activities on solar. So, like the county, if there is a plant or a project going on there, we are considering like the county government, so that when we go there, we can combine the two. I don't know whether I got your question right. So those are some of the factors that we were considering. And again, like we are imagining that it will also depend on the resources, of which maybe the team should guide us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Douglas, has your question been responded well?
Yes, it has, and my mind was partially thinking about that while she was saying them out, but then I'm just recommending that for future use of the document, probably she could add a small column where those particular reasons are included, so that somebody does not think that you just pick the counties out of the bush if they do not know the rationale for which you selected them, and maybe even for the other stakeholders as well.
Okay. So for your comment, I think Sarah and I will work on that. We'll provide some sort of justification why we settled on some of the stakeholders. And in case if any member has someone, maybe additional organization, they think they are doing something different from what the stakeholders we have suggested in the solar sector, feel free to reach out to Sarah. She will include. So we are still on the questions and answer about the deliverable 2 presentation from Hildy team.
Chair, maybe I can make a small comment. Good morning, team, and it's a pleasure to be in this forum today. I have just 2 comments. One, I think Sarah, the Department of Physics is ready to work with you in this particular area. And secondly is I'm not sure whether we need to include KEREA, Kenya Energy Renewable Association, which has really been instrumental in terms of solar push sort of advocacy group, because it has worked on these issues of solar all the way from 2010, 2011, working on development of solar curriculum and all that. It has really been involved in this and facilitating trainings and bringing stakeholders together. I'm not sure whether we need to include them as a stakeholder. Maybe we can consider. I don't know. Maybe any other advocacy groups that seems to be interested in this. Probably there will be some bit of value addition. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Waita, for your comments or input. Sarah, did we include a column for industry organization in our stakeholder?
I think I left it in the other document. I'm sorry. It should be It should be there. Thank you.
Yeah, it should be there. Because with that, we had included Kerea, we had included ABDA,
Yes.
then we had included Kenya Association of Manufacturers, CAM. Yeah, I think. Thank you, Waita, for that. It was just an oversight omission, so we are sorry for that. So we'll include that in our category of stakeholders. So, any other comment? Dr. Otwoma, do you have something to add?
Yes, Chair. Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, and mine is going to be a bit long and more to do with the administrative side of what we are doing. But I wanted first people to concentrate on what Sarah has presented, and then I'll go to the conclusions and make my submission there. Thank you. Or you want me to do it now?
No. We can just keep it aside. Then we'll have a full discussion on that later. So, any other comment before now we can now discuss now the way forward, the next steps that we need to undertake as a team. Okay, so silent means we are all in agreement. So I think now from there we can now go to the next steps. That is now from now we have like an overview of the activities to be undertaken and then deliverable. So I think now from there, maybe Sarah can tell us now what next, or like what does she need from us as a team to undertake the next step.
Okay, the only thing that I may need from the team is like whether we have another team that is going to join us. You know, like baseline survey is always a bit tedious in terms of even going to the field, collection of data. So we may require quite a number of people to save time. Yes. Another thing that maybe we shall need is maybe the final decision, or the Nakosti will guide us on how to handle, because the next step is just going to the field, collecting data and developing the questionnaire. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Sarah, for that. And before now, we can go to Dr. Otwoma, because he'll talk more about the administrative and the issue of funds and facilitation process. Any other comment from the team or suggestion on how best we can do now the next approach for the identifying the stakeholders, conducting the interviews, or whichever the case will. Because this is the critical part of our project for this year. Yes, I can see Sarah, I can see you have raised your hand.
Another request is the contact of the stakeholders that you've identified. If there is any
Yes.
person maybe who has the contact, maybe they could assist us on that area also.
Okay. Yes. Yes. That's
Yes.
very correct. Yeah. So with that, yeah. So I'll share some of the contact names and maybe their details to you. I know quite a number of them. So for all those stakeholders identified, if you have any contact person, maybe you have a good working relationship, you can assist us. So any other comment? So I think now we welcome Dr. Utoma to take us through the administrative process, because that's what will determine how quick or how soon we can now start the next step.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, Chair. So I will do my take in 3 points. The first one, I would like to thank the Kiridi team and Sarah in particular for the excellent work which they've just presented, and also everybody for their inputs. And it builds on what Dr. Amolo and the first team did in the benchmarking. So just to take us back a little bit, especially for Dr. Amolo and her team, because I think in my considered opinion, they are the future really. So we started this activity sometimes in April. And when we started this activity in April, initially in my thinking and my submission to my Director General, it was something we could do in less than 10 sittings. But my then Director General saw a bigger thing than what I was saying. And so he suggested, instead of me thinking the way I was, we invite stakeholders. And that's how the letters came to invite all of us. Now, when these letters came, I shared them with yourselves, that is your institutions. And somehow between the sharing the letters and now, in my organization, we had a change of leadership. So what the change of leadership did, it inherited all what had started with the previous leadership. So fast forward, the way government works, every 1st of July to 31st of June of the next year, we have a new financial year. So the way the financial year is done in government is we do what we call performance contracting. So the performance contract, which I prepared for now July this year to June next year, we had heavy discussions internally because with the change of the CEO, the previous CEO, because for me, I've been privileged to be a civil servant all my life, so I can always observe a CEO and forget about the front office. I can see what is, for example, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, because normally when people visit a house, you visit in the sitting room. So the previous CEO, for example, he was more of a hands-off CEO. So once he delegated an issue, he expected and trusted you'd come with the output. Or if there's any outcomes, the whole organization would share into them. So the current CEO is more of a hands-on. And by being hands-on, what it has resulted is that the performance appraisal which we prepared for this July to June, the activities, and this one is one of the activities, this one of solar power for houses and businesses, were not domiciled in ourselves. They've been taken to his office. So the outcome of that action is that unlike the previous CEO, where we could have run with everything and delivered an item like a policy advisory at the end, now everything we have to negotiate it step by step. So like now, for example, now that we have this output from Kirdi, now I will have to make time and repeat it to the CEO. And after repeating it to the CEO, if I get his buying, that's when we'll go to the next step. If I do not get his buying, then we modify accordingly. So the implication of that, if I just use one indicator, the indicator of facilitation. So usually, our finance people, they referred me to a circular which had come from our Salaries and Remuneration Commission, dated 29th May this year. And in this circular, which I will share with the individuals among yourselves who got letters of appointment and also the alternates, the circular said that the National Commission for Science, Technology and Innovation should pay resource persons as provided by the government, and then it quotes another circular of 14th August 2006. So the circular of 2006 was from the office of the president. That time, our head of that time, the head of the public service was Ambassador Francis Mudaura, and in his circular of 2006, he had said that resource persons who are from civil service will be paid at a rate of, it's not eligible for me, but it's like something like shillings 1,000, and the people who come from outside, and then it has a rider that the resource persons from outside the civil service will be paid at a rate of 2,000 per at least 1 hour session, and the maximum number of days should be 10. So I will share that circular. So now what is going to happen is, if there'll be cash payments, that is a circular which will be followed. And this information I obtained last week. That is the commitment from both the Director General, who is the CEO, and the finance office. So coming back to the performance contracting, I had prepared a performer. I had shared the work plan, because normally when you do a performance contracting, you say what you will do, and in addition to what you do, you put supporting documents. And the two most important ones are usually a procurement plan, and then of course the work plan. The work plan will have a budget. So there's a document which we had agreed upon, and it had 5 deliverables. The first 2, that is benchmarking and stakeholder consultation, we've done. Now the remaining 3 is the draft policy brief, the stakeholder validation workshop, and of course the final policy brief. Now initially we had budgeted that everything should end by the end of this year. However, the one which now has been accepted is the one which ends on 15th May 2021. It ends with the final policy brief / report, and the total budget is 3.2 million. But what I wanted to say in conclusion is that the activities which are remaining, that is the draft policy brief, report should be availed by 31st December of this year. Then there should be a stakeholders validation workshop by 30th of April 2021. And then the last item, that is the final policy brief by 15th of May 2021. So again, I will share this work plan with all of us, and I would like to invite any clarifications on what I've just said. I thank you very much for listening to me.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Twoma, for your feedback on the facilitation process. And with that, I think we all understand the bureaucracy involved when tackling issues with the government. So we understand the process. It's now, because according to your explanations, it's beyond your control, but we hope all will be well. So with that in mind, I think it's us now to decide what can we do as we wait for further communication from Dr. Twoma. Because from what we said, by the end of this year, we need to have a draft as our third deliverable, draft policy brief as our third deliverable. And with that, means we have to collect data by latest end of November. So with that in mind, how best can we tackle that? I welcome comments and inputs from all the members, because we need to agree on the way forward. If we decide we'll go with online interviews and all that, because that one will not involve so much, we can decide on that. And maybe for the stakeholders within Nairobi, I think we can do some sort of site visits if the current situation will allow. But I welcome comments from members, and I will start with Sarah, because you have already raised your hand. Sarah, you are welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
maybe as you've said, maybe in some areas we should go for online, considering the current situation. And as Kirdi, as we have no problem, even if you wanted us to do the work like within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we are free to do that. Yes, maybe that's the only comment I can have on our side. We are ready to work within their time frame, which means if the report is supposed to be released by 31st December, maybe we could even reduce the number of stakeholders to visit, something like that, so that we work within the agreed time, the expected time. Thank you.
So thank you. Yeah, thank you, Sarah, for that. Yeah, we can hear from other members, because we are doing this deliverable as a team.
Hello, Chair.
Yes,
And everyone else.
Yes, yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Yes, mine would be to reiterate that, yeah, we need to work as a team. And if we are to work within these constraints, we should, of course, look at doing a lot of online interviews and also have other team members assist. So I would suggest that maybe some people from my team, such as Krista, could also help in this regard, so that the baseline survey can be done as as soon as possible.
Okay, so Dr. Mola, are you through?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your input on that. So I think with that, we have to work as a team. Maybe from the stakeholders that that have been already proposed, maybe each team or each member can decide, like, from this, I can try to reach out maybe to one or two people that you have a good working relationship. Even if it means communicating earlier, have just further communication with the person to just inform him more that, like, we are doing this and this, and from this we are conducting interviews and all those things. Yeah, I think that one will help the field team and will make their work easier. So any other comment now?
Chair,
Yes.
to add to your suggestion, I think it would be easier, as it had been suggested much earlier, to have maybe a Google Doc that people can edit together. And so people can insert all the contacts that they have in that table. And then the team, the core team that is doing the interviews can then approach all those people with one, maybe just, to have one letter, for example, or an introductory brochure that makes it much easier to contact all those people at the same time. Like you can blind copy all of them, contact all of them at once, because the idea of everybody contacting different people might drag too long. But I agree that we can all give contacts of the people that we know, and I think if they are then approached by the committee, that is the members of the committee who are leading the team, they can have in their introduction that these are the people in the team, and therefore whoever is being contacted will clearly see that they already know someone in the committee. Would that help?
Yes, I agree with that. That's why I said, even if we'll have to do a prior communication to people whom will issue the contact details, and just inform them you'll be conducted by so and so for a joint project we are working together. That's what I'm saying, if that will work better for everyone. So, Dr. Waiter.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make two comments, and the first one is what Dr. Molo has just mentioned. I don't need to repeat it. The second one is once I think we identify the stakeholders that we want to follow up, I think the method that will be applied may majorly depend on the stakeholders at hand. Probably there are cases where the person doing the survey may need to go one-on-one, which makes the results faster and immediate. There are cases where we may need to make a call. There are cases where we may send an online survey form. After clear communication, it is filled and then it returned again. So it may vary from case to case, but I think basically to be guided by the stakeholder that will be identified and where the stakeholder is and who is contacting the stakeholder. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you are much welcome, Dr. White. Any other comment?
Chair. Hello.
Yes.
Chair, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Krista. Chair is not responding. Chair, you can hear Krista.
Yeah, okay. If you can hear me, then that's fine. I just wanted to reiterate on what Amolo has mentioned, that I'd be happy to help with the baseline surveys, and also because I have also previous experience in multiple stakeholder engagement workshops, I would also be happy to help with the facilitation of the workshops that we are gonna have with the different stakeholders. Thank you.
I think the chair has left.
Yes, I'm admitting him again. Actually, today people have been coming and leaving. So I think there are internet issues which are affecting most of our attendees today.
Sorry.
Maybe, Krista, for the chair's sake, you could repeat yourself, although I've recorded everything and I will share with all of us, both the team's recording and the YouTube recording. Krista,
Okay.
if you don't mind, please.
I was just reiterating on what Amolo said about me being able to help with the baseline survey and also with the multiple stakeholder engagement, because I have a lot of experience in this. I'd be glad to help with the Kilby and Strathmore team to facilitate these workshops and also conduct the baseline surveys.
Okay, thank you, Krista, for that. So we are happy to have you assisting us on the baseline. So with that, I think now with that we need to set a deadline.
There is one gentleman from Kengen, I think Paul Mutua. I haven't heard him.
So maybe you can me. Yes, Paul Mutua. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Tari. Mine is to say thank you. Team is doing well. And as Kengen, we are ready. We will already have people who will be interviewed. We will give you the names of those ones who will be given for this stakeholders engagement. So thank you, Dr. Thank you, Chairman, for that. We are still together. I'm with also my colleague Anton Langat is around. Not seen Catherine Nyambara. I think she should be coming, but we are with you this one. Thank you, Dr.
Okay, thank you, Paul, for that. So maybe I think the first thing, we can just set like a deadline for when are we supposed to provide the team with all the names of stakeholders and their contact details, because that will be the first step. Then now from there, maybe we can just have a continuous communication through the emails to determine how far we have reached with the names and organization, contact person, and contact details.
Chair.
Yes.
I have a different take.
Okay.
From the presentation which Kirdi just did, if we go to the second last page, I'm sure you will be able to see there are some gaps. Specifically, this is the 15th slide, the one which has conclusion, overview of activities and plans. So in this slide, she had put, and this is now we need to own it so that it belongs to all of us, that the first one is mapping of stakeholders and stakeholder and stakeholder sensitization workshop. Now, what we need to do so that we all work together, and Kirdi only provides us with the leadership, is she had said on the fourth column, the teams, there's Kirdi and there's Strathmore. So now it would be good we populate it. Like, for example, Nakosti will be on those three teams. The one for mapping, the one for data collection, the one for data analysis. So it would be good we have buy-ins, and if I had Kenjen correct, Kenjen would also be on that team. So we go building like that, so that when we go to the very final conclusion, and the very final conclusion had time of completion of the entire work, depending on 1, facilitation, 2, stakeholder response, and 3, efficiency of the team members to complete the work. So the third one is which ties us as team members, efficiency of the team members to complete the work. And the first 2, facilitation and stakeholders, that one is beyond. So we go there after we have finished with this. And just for clarity for everybody, if you're not talking, please be muting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daktari, for that. Yeah, with that, we'll all work with Hildy. So with that, because I think Dr. Waita said he is willing to also assist in the stakeholder mapping, data collection, and analysis. So
Correct.
we will, yeah. Yes. If yeah, Dr. Waita, you said so.
Yeah, I said correct.
Yes, yes. So I think from that we will work as a team. So I think with that, so Sarah, you will create a group, Google Drive, where we will now add the additional details required. So if you can do that maybe today, I think by Friday, all the members will have now submitted their contact persons and organization and details. Then now, starting from next week, we can know what next. The other thing now we need to agree on is now from the objectives. We had suggestion of some of the research questions for each objective. And with that, I was requesting if Dr. Amolo can assist us. Dr. Amolo, we worked with Dr. Amolo from University of Nairobi, Hildy and Strathmore and Waita. If we can all work as a team to come up with now final questions with introduction to introduce the project and the different members present from different organizations, and then have questions for questions guided by each research objective we are. So I think that will be now the other activity we need to carry out as soon as possible. So maybe from that we can hear suggestions from, we can start with Sarah. She's the one leading in this deliverable. Sarah from Kildy. Oh, she has left the meeting.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, Chair. I didn't get your question. You are breaking.
Oh, sorry for that. I'm saying.
Yes.
I was saying now the next step. Now you create a group Google Drive.
Yes.
Where people now will give out contact details for people for different stakeholders that will be used for the survey.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one. And by Friday, I think each member will have provided the required details.
Okay.
Yeah, then from there, the next step now is developing the questionnaire. And just as Dr. Moro and Waiter said, the questionnaire will have different sections. One, we'll have a section for introduction, whereby we will introduce the project and the members who are involved in this project, the different organizations who are involved in this project. Then now guided by the objectives, we identified those are the three of them. Each objective, we come up with questions to tackle from the guideline we provided because there was suggestion of some of the questions that we provided. Yeah, that was my suggestions on the way forward.
Okay, Chair, thank you. I will do that. So you can get the document by next week, Monday. Would that be okay?
Can you come up again? You said
I'm going to work on the Google document. Probably you'll get it by Monday, latest. That is.
Okay.
Then maybe a proposal. What we could do so that we move to the next step. Maybe we should also start developing the questionnaires.
Yes, that's what I was suggesting. If we can have the Google Drive, or I can assist,
So we'll come up with the structure. We can come up with the structure and send to others, maybe for corrections.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for that. So if you can create a Google Drive, then I think by Friday all members can work on maybe providing details of the different organizations suggested and contact person for each organization. Then apart from that, now we will start working immediately on the questionnaire that we'll share with members for input. Any other comment from the team?
Yes, Chair. Thank you very much for the suggested way of going about coming up with a questionnaire through Google Share. So what as much as each one of us will do this, will assist in the listing of the identified stakeholders, here Nakosti can also be, we can use our offices. For example, if we know the person to contact in EPRA, that is the contact person and the contact details. Once we have the questionnaire, we can do the forwarding letter and then contact that person, for example, in EPRA or Kenya Bureau or KenGen, including the counties, the county governments, because I've seen we have also the county governments, and then we have the financial institutions, and we have the mini grid operators, and finally we have the interest groups like the women groups, the SME stroke households. So we can the forwarding letter to all these contact persons with their contact details. That one Nakosti can do after the contact persons have been identified. I thank you, Chair. Chair has left again. I think the internet issues. is coming back.
Okay, Daktari, are you through?
Yes, Chair, I'm through.
Okay. Okay, so thank you for that. We have this power challenge. Okay, power is coming and going. So sorry for the interruption. So I think we any other comment from member? Okay, so if we don't now have another comment, I think now, unless we have any other AOB to discuss, we can now say the meeting is over. Unless Dr. Toma, you have something to share with the team.
Hello, I wanted to say something.
Continue.
The number of stakeholders, has it been agreed on? That was my question.
Okay, the number of stakeholders, there was a list that was shared, that was presented today. So we suggested we work on that, or if there are any other organization members feel can be useful for this project, they are free to suggest. That's why we are creating a Google Drive where members can add or list some of the stakeholders they think they are useful for this project. Yes. And then now from there, I think by that time we'll got communication from Dr. Roma on the facilitations. If by that time we will not have any communication, we will try and see how we can approach those neighbors. Even if it will be through online interviews, those within Nairobi, we can try and see if we can have site visits. But that will depend on the communication from Dr. Otioma. Any other comment?
Chair.
Yes.
So first of all, thank you, sir, for that presentation. It was wonderful. So I just wanted to say that on the part of data collection, I am personally willing to participate, be a member in that. So in case Sarah needs a few people in her team to help out with the interviews and the field work, I am willing to help with that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Felix, for that. We are really happy to hear that you are willing to participate. I think with that, maybe we can just have a side chat with Sarah, and maybe with that we can just see how we can come up together and assist in the questionnaire development. So thank you for that. Okay.
Hello, the chair, before you wrap up, maybe for the people who are interested in working with us, I think we should have your contacts, please. We have a WhatsApp. I don't know, maybe you can tell them about the WhatsApp page that we have.
Okay. Oh, yes. So, yes. Okay. So we'll have their conduct. I think from that, Ferris can share a contact. Then now from there we will work with that. I have an email address. I'll check whether I can get her now. I have it.
Chair, is it a different WhatsApp group from the one that was created last in our meeting?
No, it's not different. It's the same. If you are a member, it's okay.
That's already. I mean that
Oh,
one
you are
already.
there. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
Chair, for those who are not there, I've sent the number there. You can send me their numbers and the communication of the name so that I can add them. To those who are not in the WhatsApp. Thank you. It's in the chat.
okay. Yes. Yes. I've seen it. Thank you. So you can get White's number from the chat. It's there. Then now from there he will add you to the group. Then now the communication will be easier. So I think with that, unless we have any other comment, maybe Dr. Otuoma.
Thank you, Chair. Usually my last item in a meeting I'm involved in is usually the date of the next meeting. Otherwise, I thank everybody for their contributions. And immediately after this meeting, I'll send you this circular I talked about, and I will share with all of us the work plans again. I thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Daktari, for that. So the next meeting, are we still meeting after 2 weeks, or is it 3 weeks or 4 weeks? Because we need to know the progress. So my suggestion is if we can meet after 2 weeks. Is it possible from members?
That's okay, Chair. That will be 16th of September.
Yes, that's 16th or not 16th. Yes,
16th, Chair.
Yes.
16th of September, I will have a day. Actually, it might be a full day engagement on 16th of September, a Wednesday.
Okay, so because we either we can go to Tuesday or we can now push it to Thursday. Can we work on Thursday? That will be on 17th.
I'm free that day, Chair.
So the other members are.
Is Tuesday okay with us also?
You are saying? Yes, 15th and 17th, I'm free at the moment.
Okay. I prefer the 15th, Tuesday.
The other members, because we have heard from Dr. Toma and Whiter. Which day? Between the two, 15th and 17th.
17th does work for me.
17th Thursday, that is Douglas. And
even
Tuesday
I'm okay.
on? Sarah, you talked, I did not hear well.
Okay, Tuesday is okay. Thursday, I think I will be having another meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday is better.
So I think Tuesday is better. Yeah. So I think the majority have agreed with Tuesday. So we can do on Tuesday, and I think that
Chair,
will work. Yes.
we need to hear from the group of the university. This is, here I can see there's Douglas, Krista, and Paris.
Yeah, maybe we can hear from Paris. Douglas suggested on Thursday. Maybe
Tuesday will
what?
Tuesday is okay for me.
So Krista?
Yeah, Tuesday works for me too.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah.
In case the majority is for Tuesday, I'll also not have a problem. I'll just clear it up. No problem.
Okay. I think now we are all in agreement. Let's work with Tuesday.
And then the Kenyan people, I see there's a Paul and Anthony.
I think Tuesday is better for Kenyan.
Okay, so I think we are all in agreement. Next meeting to be on Tuesday. That is on 15 this month. So I think unless we have another comment or inputs, we can say the meeting is officially closed. So you can